Hey guys, it is Allison from Alison Answers and Lager Counseling Services. We are going to have the best show ever, and it's true. Do you see this? Well, some of you can't see him, but let me tell you something. This guy is on fire, and he is going to change your life. So that's why I have him here. And the way that I collected John, the reason that he even considered coming on my podcast, I believe, is because we are Arate members. So we are fast friends. We just do things for one another just because that's what Ed and Andy tell us to do. So we just do what we're told and we help one another. And John is so nice to come on this podcast and share with us all the shit this guy knows, because he is really the man. So basically when I was looking him up, and I'm going to do my little spiel because you guys know, as Ryan has told you all, there you go, Ryan, there's your plug. As he told you that I will talk a lot, but I'm going to let John talk. But before I do that, I'm going to say a few things. The way that John and I kind of vibe is that he has kind of the same similar lane that I do, that I am in this like drive. I have this freaking mission that I want to wake everybody the fudge up, right? This is what I want to do. And what I tell you guys over and over and over and over and over again is this, is that we have core beliefs, we have thought distortions, and we have feelings that are rehearsed that we become addicted to. This is all neurologically based. Our whole entire body is a record of memory. And what we do is we keep returning to that record of memory to create a life that we cannot create because we're just repeating a life that we've already had, and stories that we've already told, and things that we've already done, and mistakes we've already made. And that's what I want to wake people up out of being automated, because quite honestly, every single solitary one of us, no one is exempt, is automated, because that's the way our bodies work. So we want to be people who are, first of all, self-aware. So we're aware of the way our system, our operating system is working, meaning our body. Our thoughts are electrical impulses. Our what was I going to say? Our core beliefs come from our experiences, all the data we've collected, our entire young lives. And then all of that data collects data that's like it, because it doesn't take other data in. And you guys have heard me explain all of this neurologically. I'm not going to bore you with the neuroscience, even though it's my favorite thing to talk about. But now, so with those core beliefs, you know, if you believe I am not good enough, what happens? Then your thoughts, that generates thought distortions, which run on a loop, which then determine your feelings, which you become chemically addicted to. So if you spend most of your life anxious, depressed, worried, you will, even if you change parts of yourselves for a month, that's why everybody returns, because our body calls us back to that old feeling. Hey, did you forget that you suck and you're depressed and that you're not good enough, basically? You're like, oh, I forgot. That guy on the other side of the room just looked at me like I'm an idiot. Now I remember. So I'm going to go back and do what I used to do instead of doing new things. So basically, and I'm not going to keep talking because I promise I'm going to introduce John. I swear, just give me one more minute. So the other thing is we do this thing where we just repeat. And if what I do with my clients, I love, and John's just like waiting for me. This is like Ryan waiting for me. Would you shut the okay. So basically,
it's value. No, it's value. You go.
Adding value. Okay. So basically, we don't want to continue to repeat the same thing. So when you're listening to this podcast today, I want you to think about also what it is in your life where you keep landing over and over again. And you're like, wow, how the hell did I get there? And remember that we go over your blueprints, and we go over to see, what is my financial blueprint? What is my social blueprint? What are all those things? And when we find out what that blueprint is, we want to create a new one. So that's why I'm so happy and excited that John Marrone is here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about John. John is first of all, he's called a growth expert. Okay. And that's what this guy is. You got to listen to his podcast. You got to like find him on social media. I'm going to give you all that information. But basically, his vision, and you can correct me, is that he is about creating the ultimate version of you, about you creating your ultimate version of you, which I am right on board with that. And that he has this personal evolution coaching experience that he does. He does group coaching. He does some limited, if you're a badass enough, individual coaching. And he is the guy who does this, I don't know, it kind of looked like a luxury retreat to me. I'm sort of wanting to go. I don't know if
Come on.
he'll let me
It's
come,
in
but
Destin.
I want to go. Destin, freaking Florida. Okay, so this guy is the man. He speaks on stages. He's really just wonderful. And he has a great story. So we're just going to, no matter what, you got to stay to the end. I'm going to ask you to, now listen, pay attention and behave. I want you guys to subscribe to both of us, like, share, give it away. Because honestly, both of us, this podcast, I don't know about John, but we don't make a dime. And basically what we're doing here is we want to give love and life to you. We want to help. And I do a lot of joking, but I'm so dead serious. I want to give as much as I can before the day I die. And I feel like I'm in a rush. I don't know why. So anybody that you know out there that you say, wow, they could really could use a leg up, I really want you to share it. And it's not because I'm looking for 1 million followers. I wouldn't mind them, but it's not what I'm looking for. Okay. So this right here is the badass John Marrone. He's just the best. So John, what made you decide to come on this show?
I mean, the intro kind of tells you right there. You're way too fun, right? Why would I not go ahead and take the opportunity to sit here and have a conversation with you while adding value to the listeners?
Well, it's boring. Especially
and
here, I was like, "Hey, John, what's up?"
I'd probably be like, "Oh, my wife's calling. I gotta go."
Like,
But
get me
while
up.
looking at my watch, I'll say my wife's calling and then leave.
So hard. Okay.
But for real, I mean, no, it's you're right. I mean, my mission is to leave a legacy. Not just when I die. I want to feel my legacy after every single room I leave, after every single podcast. So the more opportunities I get to spread a message that could resonate for other people, to find hope, right? The most powerful word in the English vocabulary. And then B, get the real tools, not the fluff, right? Like real tools to change who they are today to who they want to become and truly be better today than they were yesterday. And then do it on a fun podcast platform like you have, Alison. I mean, it was a no-brainer. And I've spoken on big stages, I've been on huge podcasts, but I don't care if it's someone that has 1 listener or 1 million listeners. The whole point is if the message can resonate with one person, the time was well spent.
Yes, it is, right? Can you tell us just a little bit about you, how you ended up where you are? And I definitely want to hear all your valuable information, but just like, how did you end up being on the stage, making a podcast, all of that? What'd you do? Where were you?
I was kind of talking to you offline about it, about the process creates the person, right? And so growing up, I grew up in addictive households, and just a lot of bad decisions were being made. And then it transferred into my own life, right? We inherit the beliefs, we inherit the actions, and without knowing any better. And I started at an early age being an addict. And it wasn't just to drugs. It was to dealing drugs. It was to drama. It was to negativity. It was to fighting. And then those addictions that were in a negative light turned into really bad outcomes and put me in jail and living on the streets and couch hopping and motels. And to kind of shrink down the story and not give you the whole entire thing, I was on a bad path to nowhere. And I started making some strides when I started running a marketing and sales firm with a gentleman named Pat Necarato, and I'm from Jersey, and he's from Jersey as well. And we're doing good things for businesses, but I wasn't truly invested in my life, right? I was invested in making money. I had a problem, and that problem was income. And it took Hurricane Sandy to really wake me the fudge up, as you said, right? And so I lived on the Barrier Islands in Jersey, and that means we're surrounded by bodies of water. And it was October 28th, 2012. And we didn't think we were going to get any real rain, anything bad. So we stayed. But let's be real. John Marrone is an Italian person who is super, super stubborn. And it's just, we decide to be selfish sometimes when we, activate those characteristics.
Include me in that shit.
Yeah. Right. And so we didn't leave. We stayed. And then we went ahead and it was around 7:00 at night. I brought my family in from their motel, and we're sitting in our house, and we walked outside, and just, it was fine. No rain, but it was a lot of wind. I mean, it was whipping. That day got up to 125-mile-per-hour winds.
Wow.
I went inside, and it was about 8:00, an hour after we were outside. And I saw a trickle of water come through our living room. And I looked at it. I'm like, what? How the hell is there water? I was just outside. It was fine. And so I got up. We were playing Monopoly. I got up and I opened the front door. And as I opened the front door, there it was. Roaring rapids. I'm talking about boats flipped upside down, piece of dock flying into our house, 4 to 5 feet of water of just crashing into houses. And it was just beginning to rise. And within minutes, the water broke through our foundation and started filling up our house. Mm-hmm. So we got everybody upstairs. It's into the attic. It's a 1-story house, and the water started rising rung by rung by rung. And all of a sudden, the roof felt like it was going to collapse because a tree was smashing it. And Alison, this is really where a lot of things have changed for me. Is I remember looking at my family, and I can still picture it today. And they're freezing cold. Obviously, they're wet. It's October, and I looked back and I said, "What kind of impact have I made? Like, wow. What kind of real impact have I made for the Marrone last name, for just this world?" And I said, if I get down and we get rescued, because we thought we were going to die, I will create impact first, income second.
Love it.
And
awesome.
Long story short, we got down and we got rescued. There's a fun little story that goes with that. But we're sitting in the shelter, and I had white fuzzy snowflake pajama pants on. They weren't mine. They were my now wife's. I had a pair of softball cleats and just some raggedy shirt. And I'm sitting there in my own head talking to myself. And I said, I said I'm going to make a change, right? I said I was going to do something different. I said this is not the life I want to live anymore, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
There it was, right? Dropping my ego and admitting I don't know what I don't know was my biggest opportunity to grow.
Love that.
And from there, I just invested in coaches, in programs, in retreats, in conferences, and I listened and I implemented, and I started making these big shifts in my life and small shifts. And from there, by dedicating myself to working and watering the source, watering the tree that money grows on, which is myself, right? Everything's an extension off of me. Once I really dedicated myself to that, everything else started falling into place, right? And so I was able to truly create the opportunities I have and stand on stages and the podcasts and the thousands of clients I have, all because I decided to take ownership of dropping my ego, saying I don't know what I don't know, and saying, but there are people who do know, and I'm willing to invest in it because my life is worth it, and so is my legacy.
I love, John, that is such a great story.
Thank you.
And you know what? That's why you're successful. You know, how many people have we heard? You hear like Andy talk about, I'm talking about Andy Frisella, and he talks about he did not make a dime until he said, you know what? Every person who walks into the store, I think he made like $10 a day or something. He's like, every person who walks into the store, I'm going to make their life better. And that's when he started making money, because money is just a concept.
Yeah.
It's just a concept. And
illusion.
It's a rich, full life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just brings more life to you. So tell me like the things that you coach people on. Like, what's your shtick right now? Like, what do you want most? If you could tell, let's say this was your last word, paragraph that you had to say to people before you, I don't know why I'm on the death kick. I'm really never there. For whatever reason it happened. So basically, what would you say? One paragraph. You can do 5 sentences.
Yeah, I mean, can I do like a bunch of run-on sentences first off?
Really,
I'm really bad at grammar, so it's gonna be a bunch of run-on sentences.
I wouldn't even have noticed.
Okay, good. There's gonna be like no commas,
none.
Straight fire. All right. So and we talked about this kind of offline about like we go through these stages of like really being like on something mentally and just being focused on it. And right now, and I think this is just consistent, is that we got to stop allowing these outside circumstances to dictate our future, right? Like our habits create our future. And we're allowing these outside circumstances that we have no control over to dictate if we stay disciplined to our habits and if we stay consistent with our habits. And so first thing I always say is, without a strong why, your consistency will die. So you better find out what that is, because I promise you, if you start trying to find motivation off of mood, you're not gonna win. You find motivation off of meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not asking you to go find a super deep meaning. I want you to have that. But what is a momentary meaning, right? Is it just to make $10,000 this month to pay off the credit card debt so you're not so stressed, so that you and your wife have a better relationship so you're not thinking about it? That's fine. Find that meaning, because mood will not activate motivation enough. If we always waited to be motivated by mood, you and I would not be in this position that we're in.
No, you're 100% right.
And that's one thing. The other thing is realizing that, like, just because you think nobody's watching you, don't lower your standards. Don't lower your standards. Like, when nobody's watching you and what you do in the dark makes you shine the brightest in the light. And it's so true, because you think nobody's watching you when you say you wanted to wake up early and hit that workout, but you didn't do it. You think no one's watching you when you're eating that donut. You think no one's watching you when you're not keeping your self-promises. But here's the thing, Allison. The most important thing and aspect in your life is watching you, not your subconscious mind. You are training your subconscious mind on a daily basis. So you think nobody's watching you? The thing that actually controls you is watching you daily. So you better train that thing right. You better act accordingly the way that you truly want to live when nobody's watching you. So when the light does shine, opportunities are in front of you. You are the person that can actually take advantage of them and create success out of them.
I can't take this. I'm sitting here. My brain is like, the wires are going. I am firing crazy. I just have to say, this freaking guy is amazing. I had no idea you were this thought like this. Let me say something. Okay. So when I have people, I always have people find their why, right? So now what I do is I ask them to go 7 layers deeper. I always tell the other therapists, don't stop at the first question. Keep going all the way deep. But you know what? When I was trying to do something for myself, John, I was like, okay, what's my why for this? And I kept just going. And of course, I'm sobbing by the time I find my why, because I'm so like, it really got to the heart of the matter. But really is that anything I want to do, and this is exactly what you were talking about in your podcast that I just listened to, is that I need to trust myself. And when you say your subconscious is listening, I love that, because that's where we reach infinite intelligence. Like when we can, our whole subconscious mind is, I'm going to throw a little bit of neuroscience in there, just a tad.
They need to hear it.
Give me a plug. Okay. So basically, our conscious mind in 1 second takes in 40 pieces of information. Our unconscious mind in 1 second, I said, right? I hope not 1 minute. 1 second takes in 20 million pieces of information. And basically our unconscious mind, only whatever it has is truth. So that's where I was relating more to, like, the core beliefs, that our core beliefs reside there. So if you believe you're not good enough, and that is in your unconscious mind about who you are, then your results are going to display that, because our brain is a goal-driven machine. So what John's saying is that in the dark, when you display things for yourself, for your unconscious mind, like you're creating a life, because then your brain will follow suit. It is the most amazing. And I don't mean to take this away from you, because you could definitely say it's better than me, because you are freaking amazing, but I can't stop talking. So, but
it's so fun.
So how would you say, like, the best way you talk about people creating the ultimate version of themselves? Like, what do you do? Let's say I come in, I'm like, okay, John, I want you to coach me.
Yeah. So one thing is we have to understand that we got to be vulnerable, right? We said offline, like, transparency creates transformation.
Yep.
So I don't coach anybody unless they're willing to A, leave their ego at the door, then B, be transparent as hell, because your vulnerability is going to create the biggest growth, right? It's going to create the biggest growth. And at first it's very hard to be vulnerable. So I always tell everybody, like, let's dive into your past. We got to dive deep into what we inherited and where it stems from and where it came from, so we can get an understanding of what we're up against. And then from there, we can start to rewire these neural pathways, right? We could start to say, you know what, like, okay, this is from your dad who didn't know any better, who got it from his dad, who didn't know any better, got it from his dad. When's this vicious cycle of this limited belief that's holding you back from the life you want going to stop? Because at some point it has to stop from somebody, right? And so, like, for me, I take pride in the limited beliefs that my family has, right? And once again, it's not a knock on them. This is just the way the world works. We grow up with these limited beliefs, but I take pride in stopping that train and starting this new legacy of these empowering beliefs I could give to my daughter for her to go off and create whatever life that she wants to create at a high level. And so we got to A, where's it come from? B, how do we start to rewire these neural pathways? And then C, what we like to do is just like, what does your first 2 hours of your day look like in the last 2 hours of your day? Because those are the most important 4 hours of your day. So if we could truly start to gain control over the things that we can't control, keeping our self-promises, our values, and our characteristics that we believe, which are going to empower us, then we could start working on the other things. And everybody's different, right? So like my coaching is pretty customized when we get on those one-on-one calls and even in a group, because we do Q&A. But it comes down to those things. Be vulnerable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, be willing to dig into the past to create the future, and then be okay with truly taking massive, aggressive, empowering action on a daily basis, no matter what your mood says, because we got to start rewiring. It's got to start now. And those are like just the starting points of what we get into. And most people have trouble going into their past, or even thinking that it's because of their family or history, whatever it is, on why they are the way they are. So once we can get some open mindedness around that, and something you said that I am a biggest believer in. You said it when we first started. So I ask everybody when I speak at events, what is the number one habit of the most successful people and fulfilled people in the world? And I'm talking about, like, when I speak at thousands of people, nobody ever gets this. Nobody. They say great things: hard work, discipline, have a why, make your bed in the morning, like all this. No, and I've been doing this for many years, and nobody ever gets it. And it's simple. It's self-awareness with
nothing
vulnerability.
until it becomes what it is.
That's it. With vulnerability, right?
Holy shit.
With vulnerability, because we're the biggest liars we know. No, you're good. Shit.
Say that again. Say it again.
Yes. So the number one tool, the most successful and fulfilled people, are massive self-awareness tied with vulnerability.
Yes.
Without the vulnerability, though, you're the biggest liar you know. So we're self-aware. I know I shouldn't eat that donut, but, and that belief, that subconscious mind that doesn't serve you comes in. The old story comes in. So it's, I know I shouldn't eat that donut, instead of saying, but, and why is that important not to eat the donut? Well, it's because I'm trying to lose weight, because I want to look better for my wedding, whatever it is, right? Whatever that might look like.
Yeah.
And so whenever you have self-awareness, don't be the person like that says, I got self-awareness, but you have no vulnerability to own up to what you should be doing in that moment. And I don't want you to have vulnerability. I don't want you to have self-awareness 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. Like, it's a daily activity of self-awareness. And the way I make better decisions, because life is nothing but the choices we make, right? That's what life is, the sum of the choices we make. How do I make better choices, Allison? I ask myself better questions, right? So life is proportionate to the quality of questions I ask myself. So with that, I ask two questions. One is, does this, so simple, does this get me closer or further away from my goal, right? Like, does waking up at 5 o'clock get me closer or further away from my goal? When I woke up today at 5:30, I did not want to go work out, but I asked myself, getting up and working out is getting me closer or further away from my goal? Well, it gets me closer. Before I could say, but I could do 2 a day tomorrow, I said, and why is that important? Well, because you have this goal and I get deep into it. So I always ask myself, closer or further away?
Could you just do that? The reason I want you to
Yeah.
say that over, because I want everybody to hear that. And guys, when you hear this, could you just please do that when you wake up in the morning?
Yeah. So every decision I make, and it starts with the first decision, which is waking up and put my feet on the ground, is, does this get me closer or further away from my goal? And why is that important? And
That's
why
it.
is that
Hear that?
important?
Does this get closer or further from my goal? Get me closer or further from my goal. You see, why am I repeating it, John? Why do you think I'm repeating it?
Yeah, because they probably weren't listening the first or second time. Third is because we are
Maybe they
trying to,
interrupted or something. Like,
yeah,
I
trying
think
to
I might
engrave it into their mind. Like, once you hear it once, twice, and third time, then it starts to start subconsciously seeping in.
yes.
And by the way, don't just listen to this shit. Write it down. You're gonna
Yes.
lose 20% of this or 80% of this in 2 weeks, and probably actually 2 days by the time you get off this podcast. So
Okay,
please
wait a
write
second.
down what we go
Everybody
over.
go get your pens. Get your pens. Wait a second. Get your pens. Do it. Wait, oh, no, that was too short. Get your fucking pens and your paper. Now write it
Yes.
down. Did you hear me? This is important. You want your life changed. Don't just fluff around listening. We want triumphant change. We want something that's going to make a
Yes.
difference in your life. Like this moment, every moment counts. This moment, I always say, truth is the only path to freedom. There is no other way to get there. I don't care what you say. Right? It's true,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I'm piggybacking on your stuff. But yeah,
I want to hit something because you just
tell
said
me.
something that, once again, I think they need to hear is like, every decision matters. And what I look at is every decision matters to more people than just me, right? It matters to Allison. It matters to her listeners. It matters to my daughter. And why? Why does waking up early and working out matter to Allison and her listeners? Because it's a compound effect of, when I work out, I gain energy. When I gain energy, I could produce better content for you, Allison. Therefore, your clients could hear it. Therefore, they could take away more, implement, change their life. If I didn't work out, I would probably not be this energized, right? And so every decision I make matters to more people than just me. And another thing I do is, when I make a decision, this is legit what I do. I envision my little girl, my daughter, sitting there, and I think about her watching me the entire time. And what decision would I make if Aria Nevea, my little daughter, was sitting right here watching me? If I want her to see me in excellence every single day, if she's sitting here, what decision would I make? And this is something I started implementing about 2 years ago in my life. And it really, it wakes you up of like, if my daughter's watching me and I'm trying to show her how to live her life to the highest level, I shouldn't be making the decision to do this. I need to be doing this. And so I kind of have her as my little angel that just sits there subconsciously like, Daddy, what decision are you going to make? It's like, well, baby, I'm going to make a decision that's better for this family, and I'm going to go this way.
That's so awesome. Yes. And like when you put together, like let's say a group call or something like that. I don't know what you have, like programs and stuff. Like what do you do? Tell us about some of this stuff. Because the reason I'm saying this, guys, is because I really would love for you guys to utilize what John has. Because as you can hear, just us being together for this little amount of time so far, I mean, I've gotten so much out of it. It's like hearing him speak. He's speaking my language, but he's saying it in different ways. And I love semantics, and I love hearing things in different ways because it catches us in a different way. And if we're repeatedly learning this stuff, that's how we're being transformed. I just want to say one thing, because I think it relates to what you were saying. I always talk about that idea too, the idea of compound effect. I feel like you're like singing my song, like, the compound effect, like it's like one little incremental decision they add up. Like you want to build a mountain, and you take that 1 teaspoon of dirt on the ground, and you're looking at it like it's nothing, I'm nobody. And then you just keep doing it. And when you get to the top of that mountain, that little first teaspoon is not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Huge.
part of the whole huge mountain. And that's everything we do today. And we're never out of time. Let me tell you, I'm old. and I'm gonna do this forever.
That's it.
Yeah,
It's the small hinges that swing open big doors, right?
sure.
Like you guys you have to focus on, like, it's not these huge, like, ginormous leaps in your life that make the difference. It's those little moments of decision that just truly decide your faith. And when I look at my life and I look at all these big things that happen to me in my life, it's because I made the small decisions daily to be better. It wasn't
Right.
one big thing just happened to me. It was just these small little decisions that compounded into being there and understanding when I see an opportunity how to take it. Because I did the work in the dark, right? I
Yes.
did the work in the dark. So make sure you guys do that, please.
I believe that so much. And it's interesting to me because I think in both terms, like, going all the way to be the person you were created to be, and creating that with your co-creating that with, I believe in God, but, and the other part is that I think about, like, when you're talking about your little daughter, and I think about the people, the clients, and I think about the day when they were 2 years old, and maybe their parents had an argument at the table, and then the child interpreted that as, oh, when bad things happen when we eat. I don't know. I'm making up a story, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't even have to be true.
Hmm.
Whatever it is that the child interprets, or the meaning that they've attached to that moment, then they pull in more meaning related to that. So I feel like success being our obligation, but besides that, it's our obligation there's this thing that says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And basically that's in the Bible, but it's profound wisdom. And basically what it is, it's exactly what we're talking about. It's that we all have been conformed. Hands down, that's it. Forget it. Give it up. Our parents are beautiful. They're people just like we are. People are raising people. It's a whole shit show. So basically, it really is. I don't know how any of us get out of this thing. We don't. We all die. But anyhow, so basically, here's this. We all are programmed, right? So do not be conformed. Well, we're all conformed to a greater or lesser degree and in different ways, depending upon the world we're born into. Then, but be transformed. That is our obligation by the renewing of our mind. We are to create whatever you want. If you believe you can't have it, the reason you believe you can't have it is because you never had it yet. How are you
Hmm.
supposed to? There's nothing in your programming to understand that you can have it. And
Yes.
that's why we give up. I'm not going to rant.
No,
Go.
I want to join the rant. Can I join the
Go,
rant party?
go, John.
Okay, so what Alison's talking about is this, guys. This is the way our mind works. So I have a necklace on, right? Everybody knows what a pendulum is, right? This is a cool thing, by the way. This is called the giving keys.
Oh,
And
wait.
one of my clients gave it to me. This is totally not what I'm about to talk about, but some of my clients gave it to me. And what they are, they're keys that you give to somebody, and each key has a different word on it. And so this word has fearless on it, and you give it to somebody that you see either needs to live in this word and this value, or is portraying this. And so she owns a few different companies, and this is one of the things that she does. And it's not her company, but she's affiliated with them. And so she said this to me about living how I live fearlessly. And she writes a big letter. So these are really cool. Giving keys. I'm not promoting them.
Let's plug her.
Yeah, yeah. So this is that. But
We paid for this. We just
yeah,
like it. Okay.
yes.
What
So
is it?
what's that?
What is that thing? We'll have people buy them.
Yeah, so this is even her company. She's just
Oh, what?
she owns a crystal one of the crystal shops. She owns a wellness center. She has a bunch of stuff in Jersey. But she sent this to me. But it's really cool to, like, send somebody a key that they could wear or put it on their mirror, and shows, like, a word that really resembles them, or that they're trying to accomplish and create that as a value. So total side note, what I was doing was trying to show my necklace for yes.
Will you remember your pendulum if I just say one quick thing?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Don't forget it. Okay.
Of
Because
course.
I want to hear what you have to say. But
Okay.
this thing, there's this other thing and I swear I don't even ever quote the Bible, but for some reason I am. Gideon, who was was being chased by all these people in the Bible, like he was getting and he was hiding in a cave, petrified, like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. The guy's freaking scared to death. And an angel of God comes to him and says, mighty man of valor. And that's what you're freaking talking about.
Yep.
That, you're freaking petrified, and like, whatever, it's God, the universe, whatever, or yourself. You look at yourself, and you know what? That, if you could see the most frightened person, and I could see it in people, I'm like, oh no, you're a king, and it's like, you don't have to be that yet.
Yep.
Become who you want to be before the bus shows up. The bus keeps showing up.
You have to, right? Like, don't wait for the net to appear before you take the leap of faith.
Yes, sir.
Take the leap of faith and the net shall appear. Like, it's that simple, right?
Like preaching. This is what I'm talking about, God.
So, but yeah, go back to the pendulum, right? What Alison's talking about is how we're all programmed. And the reason why you're stuck, quote unquote, and the reason why you keep feeling you're not good enough, or that your parents passed your future, or you're an addict, and how can anybody take you serious, whatever the case is. Our mind works like this, right? So pendulum goes back and forth, back and forth. So when we look at our future and say, okay, future, can I have $1 million and create this business? Let's just use that. Your mind, without you thinking it, in a second, flashes back and asks the past, hey, past, can I make $1 million and create the business? And your past is there to prioritize these negative experiences that are skewed, negative experiences to keep you safe, right? Trying to keep you safe, little jerk. And so it says, no, remember, you're an addict. No, remember, your parents really screwed you up. No, remember, you're too old. Then you look at the future and you're like, I guess it can happen. But what about this? And you keep going back to the past. But what you're passing the entire time is the most powerful part, which is, boom, your present moment. Your present moment. So whenever you look at your future and you ask your negative skewed experiences in the past, if it's true, it's always going to say it's not, because you never experienced it. So look at the future, stop at the present, be here in the moment, because that's where your power is, and stop asking your past if the future could be real. It's like this, the best example. Would you ever go to a bar, see the drunkest dude in there and be like, oh, bro, can you take me home? You would never do that, right? You would never do that. Well, you're asking a drunk guy, AKA your past, if he can get you to a destination, which is your future. It ain't going to happen. So let's stop negotiating, having conversations with our past to see if the future is real, because it doesn't know what it doesn't know. And the mind doesn't know what's real and what's fake. And its whole entire life, you've been feeding it fake things that are not empowering, that don't serve you. Let's shift and let's start creating these things that, even if they're not real yet, these things that imprint into your mind that are powerful, that serve you, that you really want. And when you start doing that, the past starts to slowly dissipate out of your mind, and you stop asking your past, the drunk guy at the bar, to drive you home.
I just love this. I love this so much. I just don't even know what to say. I feel like, John, you have such an incredible way of putting things, and your energy is so great, that I honestly, when I was coming on this call, I was like, okay, let's see. I have no idea like what this is going to be like, but I'm really so impressed. I was listening to one of John's podcasts, and it was about not impressing people. And I feel that's such a big thing that I think all people have, but I do see it a lot with women. It's like this idea of always, 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 how much morning, noon, and night do you spend worrying about what other people think? And I feel like that is such a deterrent. I feel like just imagine, and I ask people to look, like if you were going to look today, everybody, from just even now until however much time you've spent awake, how many things have you thought about what other people think? How many decisions were based on that? And it's also like that crew in your head that you're describing too, the whole historical blueprint that is running the show. We keep trying to get to California, and we're following a map to Chicago, and like, what the hell, how did I get here again? Right. But it's like the same thing. So many people are in charge of our life, John. And it's like, I mean, for me, I feel like there's so many things that I haven't done that I want to do in my life, that I'm exploding at the seams, that everywhere I look, I want to do something. And I feel like, what would be the deterrent? And it's always that little bit of thing like, oh, suppose. And it's the eyes that you perceive are watching you, right?
Yeah. And guess what? People are going to judge you, guys. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you got millions or you got dollars in your pocket. It doesn't make a difference. People are going to judge you. And the coolest part is when people judge you, it ain't about you. Like, stop. You're not that cool. I promise you. It ain't about you. It's about them. It's their own insecurities. So let's stop allowing other people's opinions to dictate our future, because when your bills pile up high because you didn't take action on the stuff you wanted to do because you're worried about what they're going to think, they're not going to be there to help you pay those bills.
That's right.
Right? They're not going to be there. So somebody posted the other day, like, I had so many haters that now are asking me for jobs. Right? And it's true, right? It's true. And I always tell people, if people are bringing you down, it's usually because they're already beneath you, right? And you have to realize that some people are just in this vicious cycle of trying to find flaws in other people and worrying about themselves, worrying about other people, not themselves. And I tell all my clients, the more you worry about other people, the less you work on you.
Mm-hmm.
The more you worry about others, the less you work on you. It's a fact.
Yep.
So we need to release judgment on everybody else, stop worrying about everybody else, work on us, and show up in the highest standard possible to take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of you. Because as you're worrying about other people, the opportunities are coming past you. But you're not self-aware enough because you're still looking to poke fun or find somebody to complain about. And that's another thing. Like, if anybody on this podcast is complaining about something, please stop. Please stop.
Do you hear me? Immediately.
Yeah. Like, to me, it's either I'm complaining or I'm committing. Now, if you're having a conversation with your significant other, like, that's not complaining. But when you're visibly complaining about Trump or complaining about the pandemic, complaining about all the stuff you're complaining about, you don't even have control over. Why are you wasting your energy? Right? Why are you wasting your energy? If you took that much time to put into your business, I guarantee your business would be way better. If you took the time for that away from complaining about, the government, or complaining about pandemic or mask or no mask, if you took that time back from, instead of complaining, and you actually put it into your own life and started working on you, it'd be incredible the results you'll get. Incredible. And the other thing of results, man, I'm sorry, I keep going on a tangent.
No, go. I want you to go. I'm just like, John, we're starting a movement. I have a plan. No, seriously, because you just went there. You went there. You brought up the masks. You brought up all this shit that's going on. And I don't even like to ever talk about it. But the movement is this. Ready, everybody? Freaking unity.
Yeah.
We are society. Every single thing that we're facing, every freaking place we go is about choose a side.
Mm-hmm.
Mask, no mask, blue or black, Republican, Democrat. You know what? No, thank you. I want nothing to do with your argument. It's like the parents are fighting everywhere. And like, you know what? Honestly, unity is what brings power. And you were talking about judging. I tell, like, when I'm going to start a group, like in group therapy, I'm like, okay, every single person in here will judge. But let's discuss what judgment is. Judgment, the minute I judge, if I judge you, somehow, some way, I don't know what it is, I have to find it. It's my job to find what's going on inside, is I feel threatened. There's some threat, and I don't know what it is. So it's as soon as you feel the judgment creeping up, and I say to everyone, this is emotional sobriety. Sorry, John, I'm doing my whole thing. Just one sec.
Go, girl, get it.
Emotional sobriety. This is my definition. Get ready. So basically, some shit happens out here, external environment, just like what John was talking about, externals. We're talking about this is an external locus of control. Now, right? Now, inside you feel badly, right? Because you're reacting to the thing out there. Too many people, most of us, spend so much time tinkering outside of ourselves to try to fix an internal problem. People will spend their entire lives doing that. So basically, as soon as something happens out there, like instantaneously, you want to go, instead of going, emotional drunkenness is an event happens, feel a feeling, I go outward, I blame, and then I project into the future a bunch of shit. Sobriety, emotional sobriety is an event happens, I feel a feeling, I go inward and I ask myself, self-awareness, like John's talking about, what is it that's happening inside of me that lovely experience just gave me the opportunity to find so I can heal and grow from it. And now so I'm going to go back and I'm going to change that, rewire that. And then now I'm good. Now, if I got to talk to this dumbass next to me that just did something, I'll have a nice, clear conversation. But
Yeah.
I totally took over your role.
Oh, you're good. No, you're good. You're good. And just kind of piggyback on what you said, like life is what you label it, right? Like it's all the story we give it. Everything is a story that you give it. And the problem is you've been giving things the wrong story, and that's cool. I mean, it's time to change it though. It's time to change it. And
Really cool, John.
it's time. The time is now. And
Nice.
and so just make sure that whatever you guys are feeling, if you guys are feeling some type of weight or something, it's just a story that you're giving it. And let's just switch that story around. And it's something I wanted to talk about. Just drop this line in here for anybody. Once you lose your excuses on why you can't do something, you find your results. So once you lose your excuses, you'll find your results. So one of my core values is no excuses, just results. And once I started losing all those BS excuses, which were BS, right? Some were real things. I have, my knee hurts, so it's hard for me to run. Yeah, but you can go, right? Yes. So some are true, but once you truly lose these excuses, that is just your old story, your old limited beliefs creeping in, keeping you safe. You'll start finding your results of the life that you want.
You know what? You just I love that, and I want everybody to write that down because I'm gonna do it too right now. See, I'm writing. Can you see? Look, I'm writing. No excuses, just
Just results. Yeah. I
and
have it on back of shirts and all.
yeah, let's do it. I think honestly, I have a client who says this one thing. I think it's so cool. She said that's an honest lie because I feel like excuses, they're honest lies. Like, something happens and yeah, that actually did happen. My knee does hurt, but that's not the reason I didn't do it. Or there was traffic, but that's not really the reason I'm late.
I love that.
Isn't
Stealing that.
that great? I told her,
Thank
I
you.
said, I'm going to plug her, but I need confidentiality, so I can't do it. But I'm like, I'm telling everyone that. Honest lie. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Anything evil starts with this. It catches you because there's truth to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got you. It's like hooks your little neck. And then it says, oh, but now I'm taking this shit and I'm distorting it. And I'm going to tie it into your past. And I'm going to make you feel really ashamed of yourself now. Because
guilt.
I mean, what excuse ever, what alibi ever has ever made anybody feel good? Never.
Nope.
And even just admitting like, yeah, I did that. I'm late because really I just don't know how to manage my time. Like that's what I tell people. I have nothing to say. It's just, I'm trying.
Second time.
Exactly. So John, can you tell us about your retreat?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Ultimate You Retreat. So what we do is we get 40 people in a house overlooking the Gulf of Mexico on the white sandy beaches of Destin, Florida.
I looked it up.
Yeah, and it's what's that?
At the house on because it says the address, and I looked.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like a hotel or.
Yeah, it's a house. Yeah, that's the house. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And it's our backyard is the beach. And it's the whitest, sandiest beach. Like I've lived in Jersey, right? So when I lived in Jersey, I thought our beaches were cool and nice. Well, here the beaches are white, sugar white sands, and then the water is clear for miles. I'm talking about clear. You can see everything below you. So it's beautiful. But that's just the bonus to it. We sit down for 8 hours in a room of complete immersion of diving deep into the stories we tell ourselves, kind of like we're going over today. We dive deep into what are we doing right now that is not empowering us? How do we increase our productivity? How do we become more self-aware of our relationships so that we can ignite them and bring them to a higher level? And it's just 8 hours. Me and my buddy, another fellow coach, Julian Rosen, we dive into super, super deep, not just mindset and rewiring, but how to really change the neural pathways, how to understand why we have been treating our life the way we've been treating it, and then how to change it. And it's just 8 hours of complete immersion. And it's beautiful to see because the tears that come out of there it's all releasing these old stories. Every teardrop's an old story that's gone. Every teardrop's an old story that's gone, and the smile that it brings to their face afterwards. And then we have a ceremony at the end of basically re-signing the contract to live the life that we want and getting rid of those old limited beliefs, the old stories that don't serve us. And it's a transformational day that I guarantee you, like, there's no way I would put all the money in my bank down that if you come there and you play all out and you come in open mind, open heart, you would not walk out of there with the change. There's no way you can't, that you're looking for. And so it's one day, the day before we do networking, we take electric bikes down the beach road, stop, have some drinks, have some food. Then we end at a bonfire. And then the next day is the complete immersion day. And it's just a beautiful day.
Go there, and like the first day is not part of it though, right? You just meet people there. Right?
Exactly. Yep. So we just
Thing.
ride bikes around. Yep. And then the bonfire is a part of it, but the optional networking prior isn't. But most people do it anyway. And then the next day is just that complete immersion. Then we have a little party afterwards of some good drinks and food, and just looking at the beautiful
so we don't
beach.
Sleep over.
You don't get to sleep over. You don't get to sleep over. Now, who's to say that you might, accidentally fall asleep and then you can say you slept over, but
I'm just like, I just wanted to tell them like what it was, because it wasn't
yes.
Just, it was like a weekend or.
So they pay their own way, and that's why it's only like $350 is because they're getting all that one day immersion plus the night before. But it's cheap. It's incredibly cheap to actually have a rental out here. But put it this way: you spend $1,000 for the whole week, you'll gain millions back, and not just your time, but actual wealth. And the results show it. So johnmarrone.com/retreat. johnmarrone.com/retreat. And then I have my evolution experience as well.
Yeah, tell us about that. So let me just tell you everything that you're talking about, and this doesn't usually happen for me because and I want everybody to hear this. You guys, most of you, a lot of you may know me, I don't know, but I am super selective, and I've been doing this I'm just going to just be very real. I've been doing this forever, for like 30 years, like psychotherapy and all this, just tons of education and just tons of life experience. And I'm not always impressed. I'm just going to be honest, I mean, and it's not, and I'm a little of, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm a snob, because I'm not, because I think you can learn anything. And I tell everybody that all the time, that you have to, if whatever you're looking for, you can always find your pearl in any conversation. But this particular conversation, like, John, you got it. You got your shit. I mean, like, I feel like I'm going to be like, John, could you coach me? John, could you help me? It's just like, because you basically know what you're talking about.
I mean, I try. Like I said before, right?
I'm saying it in such a simple way, but I mean, I very often, I do this rant, and I don't really sound like, super crazy intelligent, but I am like over the top brainiac, weirdo intelligent. So, and I'm just saying it because it is actually true, but I don't act like it. But you have it. You have the personality. You have, like, in Think and Grow Rich, they talk about that. Like, this guy's got it. He's got the whole thing going on. And like, you like make me want to go to your things. Like, I want to go today. Like,
well,
I want to fly to Florida.
So sign you up.
Just like a year. But okay, so tell me about the that other thing that you were saying.
So the evolution experience. Yeah. So we have a group setting, right? A group coaching setting, but I don't let anybody in my group coaching setting. And here's what I found, Alison. I found that when I do just group coaching without getting the one-on-one time with my clients, they don't succeed to the levels they could. And so a 12-week experience brings you through and immerses you, into the group, but we have 3 one-on-one calls in those 12 weeks to help people truly identify where their real struggles are. And it's funny, most people fill out their coaching assessment, which is a really long assessment, and they think one thing, and me as a coach, I see something totally different. Oh, yeah. And when we have our first discovery call and the breakthrough call, they think it's going to go one way. And because I've been doing this for long enough to understand, I could read the lies, right? I could see the trends. They come out of it like, I never even thought, oh my God, that's such a huge eye opener in just that first call. So it's 12 weeks, 3 one-on-one calls, group every single week. every month, we do the first Monday of every month, we get on a group call as well. This is a bonus call, and we set our intention for the week. So most people go through this roller coaster ride of unbalance, and they don't have to. There's actually integration you can create. The problem is most people don't ask themselves the right questions of what success looks like in their health, relationships, finances, business, spirituality, and their personal life. And so I have my clients do it every single month, then every week and every day, but we got to first set the intention for the month. So 12 weeks, 3 one-on-one calls, 5 group calls, and then we have a Slack group. And for those of you who don't know what Slack is, it's an internal communications platform. And I have in there Unstuck Coaching. So anytime you need to overcome an obstacle, something for your business, something for your relationship, all you do is you put in there into Unstuck Coaching. So you'll have unlimited one-on-one time with me. If there's something that's pressing, you don't need to wait to the group call. You don't need to wait to our next one-on-one call. We will either get on a call within 24, 48 hours, or I'll send you a quick video on how to overcome that or get a tool or strategy for what you're struggling with. And that's always open enrollment. And it's $3,000 for anybody who wants to join for the 12 weeks. And the results, I promise you, Austin, is insane. But I always tell everybody, like, if you're coming in and you're not willing to drop that ego, as I said before, willing to take action and be transparent, it's not going to work. But we're so confident it works. We have money back guarantee and a whole 9. But here's the thing. Go to johnmarrone.com/evolution. Take a look at it. Look at all the testimonials. And then either sign up for it, or if you have any more questions on that page, they can book a free clarity call with me. So johnmarrone.com/evolution.
I want to tell you guys something. You know how, like, when you, because there is no shortage of these guys out there saying what John's saying, hey, coaching call, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just telling you, I just tell it like it is. I totally endorse this dude. But I mean, really seriously, because, and I think that you're just very genuine. I think one of the things, just stands out to me is that because of the things you've been through, there's like this, I'm sure you know this because you're in recovery or however you are in recovery, but like it says in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, rarely have we seen someone fail who is, taken this course of action. The only people who fail are those who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves.
Yeah.
And right. And I just love how you are so, like, you can just hear your honesty. And I think your foundational principle of, like, vulnerability and just, leave your ego at the door. I mean, that's like, those are the people you want to follow, the people who want you to do that, the people who, who want to know who you really are and what's baseline. Because what's baseline, nothing changes until it becomes what it is. It can't,
Yeah.
And I just think that I'm just super, I get a little nervous before these calls because sometimes, like, I just know John just from, like, this Arate thing where I don't know him, and I got to know him before the call, and I just never know what the hell I'm getting myself into. Like, shit.
Always a random box of chocolates.
Yes, exactly. But I just, are there, like, any, like, I know I'm keep going and we could end at any time, but I love hearing you talk. So, like, is there anything, I'm trying to think of something really that somebody would want to hear. Like, what do you have anything good for, like business?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first,
Give us, like, a nugget for.
Yeah.
No, wait. I have my own question.
Yeah.
All right, ready? You said you're ready for on the spot crap. All right. Because I was trying to think, what's my biggest struggle? So I was going to ask you because I figured it's free advice. I might just look at it. So basically, like, I put in Arate, hey, you know what? I have these businesses. I'm really super successful, blah, 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 blah. Hell, but you know what? I have all these other people doing my finances. I have no idea what the hell's going on. And you might as well be reading Chinese to me because, I mean, I know some, but, like, and so that's something where if I looked in my past and, my financial blueprint, from my parents or whatever, that sucks. And then the also like I'm also piggybacking because I got to tell you this too, because I thought of it when I was listening to your podcast about impressing others. This is what I thought of. You were like, yeah, you maybe want to impress your parents, whatever. And I thought to myself, oh my God, the number one thing that I want to do is I don't want to impress people. And I was like, holy shit, it's because it was a bad thing to impress my parents. You had to have a problem. You had to have something wrong with you. You couldn't be successful because then that was bad. So if you were doing well, you kept it to yourself. So I was thinking it was totally the opposite of what you were talking about. Like even like on here, like you hear me talk myself down. Like even though I think I'm the shit, I mean, I'm really honest, like inside, I think I know what I'm talking about, but I won't show it. So it's like, I've said like 50 times on the thing that I talk too much. I don't think I talk too much. I think I have a lot of good things to say, but I just say it because I always want to bring myself a little bit down. It's also a Christian background. You got to sound like less than. So John, I just threw a whole heap of crap on your lap. There you go.
So what's a roundabout question? Let me.
What the hell was the question? I was just complaining. I was just telling you what was mine.
So you vented and I gave you the answer. I'm just listening. See, sometimes the answer is just listening.
It was the answer. I found it on your podcast. I didn't even have to talk to you. No, what the hell was my question? What the hell would you tell somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing with finances? They have a bad blueprint and they want to soar. Go ahead.
So here's the first thing is admitting it. That's huge, right? And it's funny how many business owners that I coach that suck at finances. I mean, they don't know, right? And I always say what's not inspected can't be respected. And so you have to know these numbers. And especially if you have a team of salesmen and people, marketing, whatever it is, if you're not inspecting it, it's not going to be respected, which means you have no traction or no tracking to go ahead and bring it to their attention. And so I would hire a CFO, right? Like if you have multiple businesses, hire somebody that's good at it, but have a meeting to make you understand it at the level that you're at, right? A CFO should be able to meet you at where you're at. You don't need to, like, you have all these businesses to run. Know enough to where you could see it, understand it, and make pivots with a conversation through a CFO. Yeah. Versus you just trying to do it all yourself, QuickBooks, this, that. It doesn't make sense. You got to get somebody in there that knows their shit, that if it's $100,000 a year you pay him, he'll be making that with ease because he's going to see opportunity for you to save money, make money, higher ROI. Most of the time, people run businesses and don't know their money. You have marketing left and right, and you have no clue what marketing is generating the best business at the lowest cost. So you're spending, let's say, $1,000 and your revenue is, let's say, $10,000. Then over here, you're spending $500 and your revenue is $15,000. Well, hold on a minute. Where am I? Let's take some funds to this 500 because I'm getting, 3x, whatever it is, and let's put some more money into this. But you will never know it if you don't track it. And guess what? If you're not good at tracking, now you need your CFO. They track those things, bring it to your attention. You evaluate as a team, as a unit, and then you make changes. So that's one thing. And then talking about blueprint of your past, realizing you said it before, like money is your relationship with money needs to change. We inherit our relationship with money. And so in order for that to change, a good book is Illusion of Money, by the way. That's a really good book, The Illusion of Money. But you have to see that, okay, those are beliefs that aren't mine. How can I look at money and what are my true beliefs, right? What are my true beliefs? Not dad's, not mom's, not my friends. What are my true beliefs about money? And once you get clear on what they are, now we can figure out how we could change it. You got to get clear on what yours are. Not what mom and dad, what are your true beliefs? Maybe they are the same, but what are your true beliefs? And the way to change that is realizing money has no value, guys. Because money has no value. What comes from the money that becomes value is money is something that you exchange for value, right? When you give me $3,000 to come across my coaching, it's not the $3,000 that's the value. It's the exchange of my services that's going to make you a better person, better relationships, better experiences, and more money. So the money is nothing but a piece of paper to exchange for real value. You know, I just bought this investment property, right? $25,000 check, boom, sent it out. What our mind does, no matter if you have a great relationship or not, until you really finesse it, is our mind, every time we stroke a big check or we think about money, spending it, we always think about what we will lose, not what we will gain. So your mind immediately, $3,000 for his coaching, which is, by the way, like extremely low.
It is,
$3,000
by the way, guys. It's
yeah, but $3,000 for his coaching. Oh my God! But think about all the stuff you're gonna lose. Oh, I got bills I got to pay. I got this. I got this. I got that. Not saying, hold on a minute. Yeah, $3,000. But what am I gonna gain is wealth in all these areas of my life.
Yep.
And that's just the way our minds work. So the faster you can catch it, the faster you can start to rewire it and recalibrate it. The more often you do that, the better. So realize that when you exchange money, money is not the value. It's what you exchange it for is the value. And then secondly, when you do that exchange, hear your mind say, this is what you're going to lose. Stop it in a moment and say, but what am I going to gain?
Yes.
And be real with it. And so that helps you with recreating your, Allison, or anybody listening, your blueprint for what your relationship with money is. Be aware of what you are currently with money, relationship, and then go ahead and do those two tactics, and you'll start to change that blueprint. And for your business, get a CFO. He'll make you more money than you think.
I love that. That's really cool. And because there's always that balance, like when in a business where you're like, I don't want to spend all this energy learning something and doing something that's not where my lane, but I also want to know what's going on,
Absolutely.
That same, but it does make sense what you're saying. And even like for some, and everything you're saying is fantastic. The blueprint, we do that in we go through like 8 areas of a person's life, and I saw you do this. We do the same stuff, John.
Yeah.
But it's like, and we go over the actually what's inside the story that we tell ourselves, where our life actually is, financially, emotionally, spiritually, vocationally, socially, relationally. And we go through each of those things, and then we pull out the core beliefs that are keeping them there, and the thought distortions, and the feelings, and then have them create a new story. And it's like so weird because I feel like we're doing the same thing. So I feel like we're fast friends.
Yes.
I feel like I mean, I'm not like trying to piggyback on your great, wonderful mission. I'm not saying, but we really just are like in these 2 parallel lanes in different spots of the world doing the same thing. So I just feel like you're my best friend now. And like, like that.
I like best friends that are cool like you, so you're good.
What'd you
I
say?
accept it. I accept it. I don't accept a lot of best friends, but
I know.
Allison, you could be one.
Yeah. Like, no, I have like hardly any friends. Even though I have a million people in my life, like I'm very like.
Same.
What do you want to say about friends? And I'm sorry, and then we can go. I'm not.
Oh no.
Every moment of your minute.
No, I was just saying the same thing. I don't have many friends. Yeah, I mean, success creates distance, right? Success creates distance. So, what I've realized is that it's weird because how some of the people that are closest to you try to bring you down, right, and doubt you.
John,
And
why is that?
There's so many different things, from judging because their fear of how can he be better than me or she be better than me when I had a better upbringing, right? There's that. There's the judging of like jealousy. And I hated that. My wife would always tell me, people hate you because they're jealous. Like those who are like hating on you, it's because they're jealous. And I'm like, no, they're not jealous. And then I realized they are, like, because I get it. It's a human emotion that we all have. Right? It's a human. I get jealous. And now what I actually do is that as soon as my jealous tendency would come up, I use it for motivation to be better. Right. So I get,
how do you
do that?
How do you do that?
Okay. So it actually started with, I was on actually a boat many years ago with my wife's cousin. I'm watching the sunset, and it was in Jersey. And I was like, man, this is beautiful, man. I'm just so jealous of the situation. And he said, and he owns a very successful business and he doesn't really come from much. And he goes, stop being jealous. Just stand next to me next time. And what he meant was
Love that.
like, don't be jealous, just rise above to all those circumstances and create what you want to create to be in the boat next to me. And so now every time I feel jealous, because I can't get rid of that emotion, guys, there are emotions that you cannot get rid of, but it's how you use it to trigger you to make a better decision or empowering habit afterwards. That's what it's about. It's not about getting rid of these negative emotions. You're not going to. You're a human. You're an emotional creature, right? So jealousy comes up. I'm like, man, I can't believe that dude has, that house or that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to trigger it and be like, I'm motivated as shit now to go ahead and make the money to get that, or motivated as hell now to go ahead and create that experience. So as soon as I feel jealousy, I let it motivate me. It triggers me on how I can become motivated to reach that level or whatever that looks like. So it's just simple. I feel it, right? Boom. And then go. And that's huge for me. It's been huge for me for many, many years, because when you sit in a jealous, envy place, you sit in judgment and you sit in comparison and compare and despair mode, right? You're comparing your chapter 2 with someone else's chapter 12. You're not going to win. And then you're self-doubt, and then it's just this vicious cycle. So I use those negative emotions to fire and trigger a new empowering action and emotion.
You know what? It's interesting because you're talking about, I say this a lot. I guess it's for both men and women, but I do tell women this a lot, that we're so conditioned to be competitive, and what meaning like that I either have to be better than you or less than you. I can't be the same. I can't, not the same, but on the same level. It's not like we have to choose which one, better or less. And like, I have to remember that. And I'm going to make the biggest confession. Honestly, I have to tell you, I don't think I've told anybody this, and I'm actually going to say it on a podcast. Have at it, Allison. Here we go. Let's do something that's good here. Wrong one. Never mind. There we go. Okay, listen. This is what I was trying to do. There's something else. This one. Holy shit, I'm going to tell the truth. This is
I
it.
love that.
Ready? This is it. I am so jealous. Wait, this is bad, because as a person, like, I love when people succeed. And I want to tell you something. And with you, John, I'm totally not jealous. And it's the weirdest thing. It's because of who you are. It's because of the man you are, because you're just down to earth. You're easy to, I feel totally comfortable with you. I don't feel less than you. I just feel like I don't even mind being less than you, John. That's the weirdest. I don't mind being less than John. I'm okay with it. I can be less than John. But anyhow, I'm back to what I was saying. The point is, I have felt jealous about 2 different things, and I'm going to confess it.
Yes.
I went to a conference with Rachel Hollis. I love Rachel Hollis. She's wonderful. But I went to a conference with her, and also Ed Milet was there. So it was a business conference. But anyhow, I wasn't jealous of Ed at the moment, but I have been jealous of Ed. I'm just going to be honest. If Ed Milet ever hears this, Ed, I want you on my podcast. I've been trying to get you forever. I know I'm a peon. For God's sakes, couldn't you just throw a girl a bone? For Jesus. All right. But anyhow, but like he knows who I am, even though I'm in RSA, he could care less. But anyhow, let me get back. He doesn't care. He doesn't love me like I want him to love me. But anyhow, I gotta stop. Holy shit. Stop talking. But listen to this. So I'm so jealous. I was during the event that I literally was depressed with Rachel. Like, I was there by myself. I literally left. I went like into a depression. I could cry right now. I'm really not even kidding, John. I was so upset because I'm like, oh my God, I'm literally going to cry. I can't believe I am. But I don't mind, because I love honesty. I have been doing this my whole life. Like, I'm John, I'm gonna kill you. Like, serving people, giving everything, trying to add value. And I see this young girl go up there and just hit it. Like, I used to be on stages and do stuff, but I had a bunch of kids, so I stopped. And I was so jealous. And I cried. And I was like in a depression. I like hated her. And I don't hate her. I love her. And I want everybody to succeed. I'm always trying to get people to succeed. Like, that's like my thing. I want to make everybody successful. But I totally do. I had that bout of that. And I'm like, oh, Rachel Hollis, look at her, and then I've had it with Ed. And I love Ed. But I've had it. I'm like, Well, I don't get it. Like, we're the same age. Like, I could have done that. Like, I know sometimes he'll say things. I'm like, I knew that. I'm smarter than him. It's the truth.
I
I'm
love it.
totally confessing, but I feel like I'm like, I could get up there. I am fun. I'll get up on a fucking stage. I'll do it. I am like, you want to engage an audience? I'll get there. So I have been so jealous, but not all the time, just in those moments. And so I totally relate to that. And I'm not usually like this vulnerable on this podcast, but I don't know. You did it, John. For some reason, you're a coach. I don't know what the hell you did, but do you get what you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel
100%.
like
It's normal. Once again, Allison, don't be apologetic for being jealous, and I don't want anybody to be, right. Like, let that jealousy drive an intense passion to be there, right? Like, I heard the words you use. I could have done that. I could. What the fuck do you mean you could have? Like, you can, right? Like, look at all these great speakers that are coming up that are, whether they're older or they're younger, it doesn't make a difference. It all matters to the person themselves, right? Like, she was in the right spot in her life to be able to take opportunities, and you were in a different spot. And guess what? Now you're in a different spot. So when you see that, let it fire that and ignite that passion of like, I'm going to do that. Like, that's going to be me. Not I could have, not, oh, that should be. No, I'm gonna. Like, you know what, Allison? It couldn't have been you 5-10 years ago. It couldn't have.
that's true.
Because you aren't the person
Yeah, that is
that back then that you are today, right? The value you delivered today is way more powerful. And that's where a lot of people fail, is that they think they can create the success overnight, and they want this overnight success. But how many people do we know, Allison, that gets rich and then goes bankrupt like that? And that's all because they didn't become the person they needed to become to sustain the success that they got.
Yeah.
By a lot of NBA players and athletes, that's why they go bankrupt within 5 years of being retired. It's because they didn't create the person to sustain that success and income. So who you are today is perfect for who you are today, and you're in the right spot. And so use that to ignite that fire to create. I mean, use her as a guiding light to see what she's doing and duplicate. You know what I mean? Now you have a powerful woman in a stance like she's in, creating these massive changes in people and great events. It's like, okay, now I got some guiding light. Now I see this can be done. This will be done. Now you just got to go ahead and take the action and show up every day. But it's already done if you put it up there. And so just realize jealousy is normal, guys. And your vulnerability is huge for this. I appreciate that, because people need to hear it.
I laid it out there.
And it's frustrating, right? It's like jealousy creates this frustration, and then it's depression. But in the end, if you could catch it at the jealousy mode, it'd be like, Rachel Hollis, you know what? I'm gonna be standing on that stage with you. You know what?
I really believe I will be, actually.
Yeah.
Then funny. Like, I feel like I know I'm doing that. Like, I just know it. But it's so weird. Like, I couldn't believe what an impact it had on me.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, and I love sharing that with people, because as a therapist, you like really can't.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really, because I think truth is what really opens people up. Like, me being able to say that, those are the people I want to be around, the people who are honest about what they really feel, because those are the people who can really help you. Like getting on a stage and being real, like, that's what really helps. So I feel like sometimes as a therapist, I don't pretend. I'm very down to earth, but I feel like we're not really supposed to. It really has to be all about the other person. It's just a different style. So it's, you can't be there crying going, I was jealous too. I understand. It just doesn't go.
No.
But I feel like it's very effective to be able to do that,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'll be honest, when I get my people onto my podcast, I use that as an opportunity to be aware of certain things that I wasn't aware of and be coached. And so guys, this is for us too. Like, for this conversation, it's for us too. And it's for us so we could be better for you. Right. So in the end, as we grow, you guys grow. And I'll leave you guys with this of, like you said a few times, about what do we become and what are we becoming? I truly don't believe that we're human beings. We're human becomings. And so for whoever you are sitting there right now, realize that there's so much more for you. There's so much more. Being an addict, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm saying I'm an addict because I'm addicted to being the ultimate version of me. I've taken that negative look on an addict, and I'm addicted to being on this podcast with Alison. I'm addicted to hanging out with my daughter. I'm addicted to, I'm about to have a coaching call in 30 minutes. I'm addicted to those moments. I'm addicted to those things. So if you're an addict, which we all are, I don't care who you are, you're addicted to watching that TV show every Wednesday, you're addicted to checking Facebook, you're an addict. It's okay. It's okay. You're just like the rest of us. So if you're an addict, how can you take that addiction to something that's negative and draining your energy to put it into something that's positive and uplift your energy? And when you make that shift and you change that perspective, there's so much greatness that unfolds in front of you. And it's just brick by brick, day by day, battle by battle, because the biggest battle we're ever going to endure, Alison, the biggest battle you're ever going to endure is the one from who you are today to the person you're trying to become.
Oh, yeah.
And the cool thing is like, you could win that battle, but it starts and ends with you. It's that simple.
Like, you want to be better at the end of the day than when you started,
That's it. 1%.
Yep. There's, we're going to be wrapping up. I want to leave us with, it just keeps coming to me, this quote. So I'm just going to say it. Must be meant to be. And this quote is from, it's Paul Revere. And he says, I lay hold of my vision. Obstacles must give way. And I love that freaking quote. Just think of it. You look at what you see, what you want. And if you've made the decision that there is no choice, obstacles must give way. They have no authority because you're doing that. And I want to leave you guys with that. And I want to, John, could you just please tell everybody where to find you? And listen, also John says on his podcast, he talks about, sending him messages or whatever. Is that okay to do that here?
100%. 100%. Yeah. And that's what I love. I love connecting with people on that level. And so you guys can find me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and my YouTube channel at Real John Marrone, and last name's Marrone. When you go on Instagram, hit that follow and then go ahead and message me. Maybe one of your takeaways, or maybe you're struggling with something and you just want to have a conversation around it. Hopefully I can provide some value to you, or I can go ahead and give you a tool or a strategy to help you overcome that. So at Real John Marrone on all social media platforms. My podcast, Power of Progression. I've had some phenomenal guests on, like my man Trent Shelton, Eric Thomas, Emily Frisella, Lisa Bilyeu, John Lee Dumas. There's a whole list of them. And I have my own shows, segments as well. So Power of Progression on all podcast platforms. But make sure you guys definitely hit me up on Instagram and slide into the DMs with anything you're struggling with, or an aha maybe that you had. And I'd love to go ahead and build a conversation off of it.
That's so awesome. John, thank you so much. It meant a lot to me, as you could see, because I was crying on the podcast. And no, because you really are just a fantastic guest, just a phenomenal guy. You have so much to offer. And I really, really mean it. Like, I just think that anybody who knows you or gets involved with, working with you, will go, I cannot imagine, unless they just tried not to, or they brought their ego in. I can't imagine somebody not like soaring with you. I really believe that, and I'm being real. So, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to just being our Arate buddy friend.
Best friend.
You're my new best friend. Okay, rock on. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget. Subscribe, comment, only nice things. Don't be mean. I'm just kidding. Share. And, we really do mean it. Please just share this with somebody who might need a leg up. I'm talking about, I always say it, a kid in the basement in a dark place, maybe in the corner of like some remote area that's cutting in the basement and doing drugs or whatever. Please just send it to them. We want to be able to help whoever we can help. Okay. So be blessed. Have a beautiful day, guys. Music is much better.